This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, now I think I can share my screen. Yeah. So can you, I hope all of you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will keep it here. Oh, I make it smaller.
Work from artificial text.
Okay, yes. Now what happened with me? I have so many files open, I don't know why. Okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay, now I am facing some issues. Just give me a minute. Okay, yes. So I see a lot of people have answered data science, virtual reality, RPA, Internet of Things. Yeah, so online teaching, machine learning, Tesla vehicle. Absolutely. So those are some of the new technology trends that we have been, seeing in the industry. So what I will speak to you for next few minutes is all about what are the trends which are becoming important, and hence what kind of skills will be becoming more important, which you should kind of focus on. Yeah. So starting with things that you would have heard about called automation. So and then we are calling it hyper automation because we are trying to use various technologies in combination to automate various things that we human beings do, right from doing mundane tasks, doing things which are repetitive. So we have been using a lot of automation tools like robotic process automation, your artificial intelligence, and other methods to automate various things that human beings do. Right now, take an example of things like creating a summary. So I'm sure a lot of you all read newspapers, read books, and you create a summary. Right now, those kind of things can also be automated. So natural language processing software can understand the written text and then create a summary. So it's called natural language generation, with which you can create a short summary like what a human being does. Right? So those are the various technologies which are getting used to automate various functions. Can I request everyone to be on mute, please? Please put yourself on mute. Yeah, I still hear some voices. Yeah. So, so next is, what I call as multi-experience, which means that across various devices, how are you getting the common experience? I still hear a lot of background noise. Can you be on mute, please? Yeah. So the second trend that I'm going to talk about is multi-experience. So this is all about creating a seamless and effortless experience across various devices, right? So we use um, guys. I still hear noises. Yeah. So, so depending on what kind of devices we use, what kind of access we need, we are talking about creating a totally effortless and seamless experience, right? Irrespective of whether you go into a store, whether you access a website on your mobile, access a website on your laptop, the technologies really help you give a seamless kind of an experience. So that's the second trend, and we are talking about using virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality to create such experiences. So that's the second most a big trend. The third one is a democratization of technology, which means that you don't need to be a technical expert to use advanced technology, right? So I'm sure gone are the days when you have to be a technology expert to use certain technologies. Most of the times, all the um, uh, devices that you use are all things which you can intuitively understand. And then if you see even older people and other people who are not exposed to technology can start using it. So they're making things very intuitive, thing where people can pick up fast. So hence there is a citizen access, everyone can use, right? So even very advanced things like using machine learning, yeah, is getting democratized by really giving you exposure to drag and drop kind of a technology where these days you have APIs which will help you do maybe facial recognition. Right now, you don't have to be a AI expert to use the technology. Yeah, you just need to know how to connect it to the technology API, and then you can start using it. So what is being talked about is that people are trying to make technology more accessible. They want to give the technology in the hands of common people, right? And in the process, it's trying to make it intuitive, make it easy for people to understand, and make it available to everyone who requires it in a very effortless manner. So that's another trend, which is democratization of technology. The fourth one is about human augmentation, where we are saying that based on things that we do, how are we augmenting humans? If you can take an example of wearables, right? We wear your Fitbit or any of those smart watches. Yeah, I don't know how many. I'm sure a lot of you would have seen that smart watches can count the number of steps you're taking. It can understand your heartbeat. It can know your pulse oximeter, which is your oxygen levels in your blood, and so many other things, right? So those variables will start really augmenting us as human beings, right? So and this has huge repercussions in the healthcare industry and others, where earlier you need to have your elders and others go into hospitals, and the hospitals need to monitor them, right? However, you can do all that at your home. I mean, you don't need to be in a hospital to monitor your blood pressure, your sugar levels, your the way you're breathing, the way your heartbeat. So all of this can be done remotely, right? And using wearables and all that. So that's the next trend where you're talking about how we are you seeing the use of technology to augment the human being. Transparency and traceability. So this is a very big trend. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are very concerned about your privacy, your the data that you give out, its security, and a lot of that, right? So hence transparency and traceability are becoming very important. There are laws being passed, which require companies to be compliant to those laws. And with more data you give out, your focus will be on credibility, on trust, all right? So things like ethics, integrity, openness, accountability, competence, consistency, so those things become very, very important. So when you start using those tools which you feel are secure, right? You will not use any Tom, Dick, and Harry kind of a device where you will be concerned about your theft of data, or not knowing how your personal data might get used, and all that. So that's another big trend. Um, Edge computing. So you might be wondering what is edge computing. So edge computing would mean that you don't have to have intelligence in a server, right? You can give it on the node, which means that some of the devices that we use at our home, how can you make that more intelligent? So the home devices, or the bulbs, or some of the devices that we are using at our homes, how can we make it more intelligent? So you are seeing a lot of IoT devices being used, and these devices start becoming more intelligent, and they start taking action, all that. So you're seeing a lot of drones, autonomous vehicles, and all of that becoming more common, right? So if you want some of the examples to hear is where if somebody is going home, it can kind of using your mobile and others start controlling the AC in your home, or ask it to get your the geyser on, and maybe start put on some music which you like, and those kind of things. You can even in some of the electric vehicles and Teslas of the world, you can have the car come to you automatically, and all of that. So you're seeing more intelligence on the devices. So that's called edge computing. So more empowered edge computing is what we have started seeing. Distributed cloud, I think these days most of you and all of you, I'm sure, are storing devices in cloud locations which you can use anywhere. Like, if you're making a CV, you put it on Google Cloud, and then you start using it on your laptop, or share it with other friends, or your potential employers, and then they will start using it. So those will also start becoming important. Autonomous things, I think somebody mentioned about autonomous cars. So yes, so you're seeing a lot of autonomous things coming into the world, whether it is autonomous car these days. Yeah, you have autonomous uh, robots which are being used to really clean your homes and all that. So you will see more of that coming uh, to the fore. Blockchain, I'm sure a lot of you are introduced to blockchain. It's all about really ensuring that you're storing data in a very secure manner, and you can't change it. So immutability is one of the factors of blockchain, which will ensure that there is a credibility and trust between people who are using it. So think of you, saving your education certificates in a drive where you can't change the data, right? So later, if somebody wants to really know how educated you are, you can share a link and say that, hey, these are my education credentials, yeah, and then you can and these are all trusted uh, method, so that people start believing what you're telling them, right? Because it's blockchain. So blockchain has multiple uses because it builds credibility in the system, because you can't change it and nobody can edit it. It means that there is a little bit of credibility left. And you're seeing a lot of those coming into the fore. Finally, talking about security, and especially about security of AI, and that's becoming more critical because you are giving out data more and more. Self autonomous things are coming up, and you want to be pretty sure about how secure the environment is, right? So I think that is also kind of becoming very, very important. Okay. Now I wanted to talk a little bit of, what does it mean? So with all these changes coming, what does it mean for you, and what should you be doing today? Yeah. So what I would really recommend for people like you is that you have to kind of ensure that you are skilling yourself. Yeah. You're skilling yourself in the right areas. So I've kind of put down a few most popular programming languages which is a must for all of you, right? So ensure that you are proficient in some of these technologies. You are able to code. You're able to build algorithms, and you're also able to use any technology tool, right? So be very, very proactive in picking up some of these courses. To my mind, Python would be the next gen programming language when it comes to using AI, machine learning, statistics, and others. So please ensure that you are not only good at Java and C, which anyway some of your courses will teach you, but also pick up skills like Python. I have put down a list of courses, and maybe I'll ask Vishnu to send you the list of those to you. So I've kind of listed a few skills which will become very, very important, whether it is blockchain, AI, quantum computing, augmented reality. There are a lot of courses available on Coursera, and these days it's becoming so easy, right? So anybody sitting at home can get educated fast and very credibly so. Yeah, and these are most reputed universities in the world. Um, um, and and you can pick up these skills and start applying them, right? So many of you might be wondering now, how do I kind of use some of these technologies? It's very important that you are using some of these lessons that you learn on some of the uh, publicly available data, and don't wait for any organization to give you data and all that. So all of it's available, and download those available data and start analyzing it, yeah, and testing your skills. So I will kind of strongly recommend that you kind of do that on your own. Yeah. So things which will be more important, I mean, from a softer skill perspective, is resilience. How do you change? How are you flexible, adaptable? How are you intelligent? How are you becoming emotionally intelligent? And focus on continuous learning. And many of you, if you're thinking that your learning stops the day you're passing college, you're totally wrong. You're learning till your last day. Yeah, you're continuously learning, right? So I think that will be a very, very important skill for you to have. Entrepreneurial skills, I think, uh, I think all of you should aim to be an entrepreneur one day, right? I'm not saying today, but I'm saying soon. Yeah, I think that's the only way you can create make the best use of your skills, right? And finally, creative and critical thinking. Yeah, I think thinking is a capability which God has given all of us, right? So how are we using it to the fullest? How are we using it to be thinking critically, and thinking very, very creatively? Yeah. So those skills will be becoming very important. So I wanted to also, tell that it is not all everything about technology. It's not everything about some of the soft skills, but it's also some of the basic technology traits, right? That will be important. Things like being on time, or your work ethic, you're putting in the right effort. So this does not need talent. This does not need you to get educated in the best institution, right? And but these traits are very well valued. Yeah, if you can learn one thing from my session, I would say this would be it. Saying that there are some of this basic stuff which are valued very, very highly in the industry, and this does not require you to have any talent, right? So first things first, being on time. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you value time of others and value your own time. So at least ensure that you are present. If you're committing to something, ensure that you're present on time. I'm always say a few minutes earlier to any session that I take, or if I have a meeting, I'll be at least half an hour before I will be there in that meeting venue, right? That's a very, very critical trait to have. Work ethic. Yeah, when the work gets harder, you should work harder. Yeah. Effort, put in the right efforts. Body language, show that you care, show that you are in you are you know um, attentive, right? Make an impact how you carry yourself. Show the energy. Yeah, energy. You cannot delegate energy. You should have it yourself, right? And have the best attitude. I mean, be simple, care for others, learn, and if you're wrong, say sorry. Yeah. So those are the right attitudes to have, and bring in the with passion. Yeah, because passion is something very valued in when you grow up in the organization. And then being coachable. Yeah, so ensure that you are picking up new skills fast. You are showing that you can be trained. I think that's a very, very important skill. Doing extra, working hard. Yeah, I'm sure you would have heard about this many times. That extra work and preparation really builds the confidence, right? So ensure you're doing that extra, right? And always be prepared. I mean, if you are going into a session, if you are having to present something, go prepared. I think create those relevant material, ensure you're testing yourself, and you're prepared for the session. Yeah. Finally, I think I would want to end it here. I know we had some technology challenges, but that's fine, and it happens all the time. So don't get upset about anything which is not working well. Absolutely, they go with the, and this happens very regularly in our work life. I mean, the one that we got exposed to today, with some technology glitches, some people not muting themselves, pretty common. So it's perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong. Yeah. So be adaptable. That's very, very critical. It's not just a behavior, but turn this into a skill. Yeah, you should be embracing change, right? Then the second bullet is very, very important, and all of you, I'm sure, are already realizing self discipline is the thing, right? Is the bedrock, fundamental, should become fundamental to your personality. You should not wait for others to tell you things. You should not wait for others to monitor yourself. I mean, do your self discipline, and that's an amazing uh, skill to have. Customer obsession, empathy for others, relationship driven. I think you will understand more and more that the best jobs that you land into will be those jobs where somebody would have referred you, right? So hence building the right relationships, understanding others, and be having empathy. So those things will become very, very critical. Yeah. And finally, lifelong learning. Yeah. And stay relevant. Ensure that you are not stopping to learn. Learn new things every day, and stay relevant to the time. Yeah. If you're not understanding, if you're reading a newspaper, you picked up a new term, you picked up a new technology, you don't understand what blockchain means, just Google it up. Yeah. And stay relevant. It's very, very important that you're up to date on what's happening around you. Yeah. With that, I would kind of stop to see if there are any questions. You can follow me on Twitter, which is Mahesh_Narayan. I tweet on technology aspects, analytics and AI and strategy. So feel free to follow me on Twitter. I will be very glad to if you do that. Yeah, and I would kind of maybe stop here to see if there are any questions that you might want to ask. I'll stop sharing as well. Yeah, maybe those of you who have questions can put in your questions on the chat. Yeah.
So good morning. I will start. I'll post one question on behalf of the students, sir. Being these
Sure.
students being BCA students, what are the top 3 skills or technology skills that the basic skills that they should develop when they are passing out of BCA, sir?
Sure. I would say first things first would be, I mean, your programming skills. How are you really picking up the most latest programming languages, especially, things like Python? So I think that would be the first. And second, I mean, some of the yeah, upcoming, technologies like IoT or um, uh, machine learning or uh, some of these things, why don't you get yourself some certificates? Yeah, whether it is Coursera, whether it is on any online university, why don't you get yourself certified in some of these technologies? And third, I would say be very well read. Yeah. Generally keep a tab on what's happening around you, whether it is, keeping watch on Twitter of what's happening around you, about, you're hearing about various new technologies being developed, right? Whether it is autonomous cars, flying cars, drones, how machine learning is getting used in various industries. And I would say that reading is very, very critical. I think those three things, Vishnu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from students? You can kind of put it on your chat, or if you're in a place where there is no background noise, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Sir, can you throw some lights on the soft skills too? Because always students think that only technical skills are very much important for them, but many of them miss out on the soft skills. So can you throw some light on that?
Sure. I think first things first is how are you able to speak a language, right? And I'm not saying speak like a foreigner and all that. I mean, at least a basic English understanding and both written and speaking. I think that's the first. Second is, how are you, striking, I mean, creating, getting more confident, able to speak in public, maybe a public speaking course kind of thing will help a lot. And third is more, I mean, how do you manage yourself? Yeah, the whole becoming emotionally intelligent, right? So because in our lives we will see success, we will see failures. How are we prepared for the worst, right? So, and especially in these times, it's very, very important that we are kind of becoming a very resilient and prepared for such times, right? So becoming emotionally intelligent and understanding that failure is normal is very critical. Yeah. And it's perfectly fine to fail. I think if you want to take one biggest message from my session, I would say that it is perfectly fine to fail. Yeah. And failure is not end of the world. I have failed many times, and so would have been so many people across the globe, right? So So be emotionally intelligent, understand where you want to go in that path in a very structured manner. However, get prepared to fail. And if you fail, okay, it doesn't matter, koi nahi, move forward. I think that should be a very, very critical uh, soft skill that you should have. Sir, what is coding? Is it giving command to the computer? Yes. So you are trying to really get a computer to do what you want him to do, right? So hence that is called coding, and that's a perfectly right question, Srinivas. Very happy that you are asking such questions. Any other question, sir? How do you develop programming skills? So first and foremost, you learn a language, right? So like any language, we are speaking in English, understanding in English, you have to learn a language, whether it is Python, C, Java. So I think that's where you start with. Start by learning a programming language. Okay. Any other question?
Answer for Titan. Yes, students, please feel free to ask any other questions if you have.
Yeah.
This is the best opportunity for you all to interact with sir. So please feel free to ask questions.
And you can unmute yourself and ask as well, or else put it on the chat.
So on behalf of students, I'll post one more question, because this
Sure.
pandemic has brought in much more virtual skills, which is needed right now. Maybe henceforth the interviews are going to be virtual panel discussions, virtual interviews. So for that, how the students should prepare themselves, sir?
So yeah, I think no new things, but I would say ensuring that you are prepared for an online session, which is sitting in a place with the background. Like if you see, I have this whatever the roll the curtain that I have in a place where you're not disturbed. Yeah, which is not noisy, if it is possible, yeah, or else go to a place where you will get that kind of an environment. I think that's first and foremost. Second is knowing about various tools. I'm just trying to see how I can change my background. Okay, I've not myself not good in GoToMeeting, but um, I've used other devices. So hence I have to preach what I practice, right? So if you first and foremost, and this is what I do for myself. When we go to meeting, I have not attended many meetings, hence I'm not able to kind of comment on it. But in various other uh, 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 platforms, you can change the background. Yeah. So how do you choose the right background? Things which are static, which has a pleasing background and all that. Yeah, that's also helpful for you to really put up a good what do you call interface when you are talking, right? And then maybe invest in a very basic stuff. I have a small speaker which I use. Yeah, which I kind of use for my online sessions, because most of the time I'm working online, right? So investing in a table and chair and a small speaker and some of these things help a lot. And the other thing is, people also perceive how you look, right? So maybe ensuring that you're dressed properly, and starting your day by freshening yourself, putting up the best way look and all that would take you a long way, right? So those are my ways of how I kind of prepare myself for these online sessions and online interviews and all of that.
Two more questions are there in the chat window. If I want to become a hacker, what degrees I have to complete?
Yeah, which course demands in future? Yeah, 1 second. If I want to become a hacker, what do you? So there are a lot of um, hacking courses which are available. So you may want to kind of look into it. Ethical hacking, actually, not the wrong kind of hacking. Which course in demand? I think I mentioned a few in my list. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, quantum computing. So those would be important. Which language you must learn before learning any other languages? I would say at the base of it would be Java or C beneath. Uh, which language is helping in app creation? I think you can create in any language, but I think Python and all that are very, very easy to use. What is the difference between web designing and web development? Designing is more on the design aspects in terms of how you make the page look. Development is all about ensuring the page works and it is functionality is working and all of that. So web development is larger than designing. Yeah. So how the product-based company like Amazon deal with us means what we have to do in such companies. Most you could do a lot of engineering kind of work, or you can also do a lot of business and functional kind of work. Meaning, how do you interact with vendors? How do you strike the right price? How do you ensure those products are available on the platform and those kind of things, right? So those are the kind of work that you might be asked to do when you join such organizations. Shitej is saying, I want to become a data scientist. Which languages I must be perfect at? I would say Python. Yeah, that will be one of the languages that you might have to pick up. Okay, I see a lot of questions. I hope I've answered all the questions. Any other questions from you? Any other question?
Yes, one student has asked a question: why Python is trending compared to other languages?
I did not see it here. I think for the first reason that it has a lot of libraries, yeah, and when I say libraries in programming languages, libraries are things that you can reuse many times, and you don't have to kind of work on creating it grounds up. So if you are creating, say, facial recognition software, for example, you're creating an attendance facial recognition based attendance system, yeah, you don't have to recreate the wheel. You have to use a library where such capabilities are already developed. You use it to and connect it to your product that you're making, and then start using it. I think that's why Python is becoming more and more famous and useful. Will Python, Java, and Python be useful? Absolutely. I think at the base of it, most of the languages have common syntaxes and all that, and Java and Python go along with each other quite well. Yeah.
Yes, so one more question. What are the different job opportunities after BCA, sir? They're asking.
So first and foremost would be, I mean, basic coding and programming kind of jobs where you will be expected to, develop those either HTML or any other interface products or functionalities, and then maybe creating, apps, those as well. And once you are doing that, and slowly you can kind of get into more engineering, more product development kind of roles, and finally maybe more and more senior you can get into functional areas as well, in terms of how do you code for creating a product in the supply chain space, or in the marketing space, or in the sales space, and all that. So those are the kind of career opportunities you will have. Prajwal, frankly, I'm not exposed to Lua, but yeah, you can look it up on Google. I'm sure you will get a lot of inputs on that. Simplest programming language. I think C++, yeah, even Java to a large extent. Python is also quite simple. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, students?
Sorry, did I hear a question?
Yes, so they are asking the question like, what's the opinion on facial recognition, as it has a lot of drawback related articles.
Okay, Moinuddin, I think, yes, a lot of drawbacks are there, meaning people, there could be a lot of biases been built in and all that. But facial recognition as a technology is quite advanced. However, there are a lot of, what do you call, privacy related concerns, yeah, because people are capturing your faces and those can also lead to wrong things, right? So your data is getting stored and all that. So while that is a very developed technology, we are seeing a lot of laws and restrictions being put in place for those technologies. Yeah. On ethical hacking for beginners, I think first and foremost you are trying to really check how vulnerable your system is, right? So if you're getting into ethical hacking kind of a course, you will be kind of taught to really check for vulnerabilities in your security systems and catch them, right? So you are kind of mimicking a hacker and trying to do things and to check whether you are able to impregnate some of these systems, right? So and if you are, then you will kind of give those reports. So that is ethical hacking. Um, what will be the future of cloud computing? I think that's where everything is going towards. I mean, you will get into a place where you don't need any local device to store. I mean, local storage will become something of the past. I think that's the future, I would say. Any difference between engineering and BCA? I think engineering is a little more, what do you call, um, uh, broader. BCA is focusing on computing. uh, so that will be my take. What does MTech give specialization in? That's a although academic question, but I think from my experience, I would say you can get more specialized in specific areas. You can get an MTech in machine learning. You can get an MTech in specific technologies. Maybe that's one view. Which are the popular languages to get into any IT companies? I would say Java, C, and Python. Yeah, these are three popular languages. Okay, any other questions?
So one more
Okay.
question.
Sure.
What is your opinion on doing MCA after BCA, or should we focus on specialization courses? A student has asked whether she can continue doing MCA after BCA degree, or they can do some specialization courses. That is what their question is.
I would say MCA will be little more broad-based, where those specialization courses could be included in your MCA. My suggestion would be to kind of take up your MCA after your BCA, so that you are a little more deep in your technology understanding and the areas that you want to get into. Because these specialization courses, you can do it even after that. Yeah, even after you join work. Okay. Anything
Any
else?
other questions, students?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so on behalf of Keli Society's College of BCA RLSI, it gives me immense pleasure to thank our speaker for the day, Mahesh Narayan sir. thank you, sir, for your valuable time. You have given us a lot of learning for this session. I hope the students have gained a lot of knowledge regarding the new trends that are coming in IT. I also thank Vishnu, sir, for helping us coordinate this event. It was possible only because of your cooperation, sir. So thank you, and thank you for all the wonderful audience here for listening to the speaker patiently, and also it was a very nice interactive session. So thank you, everybody. We'll meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. with another speaker, Manas Sahu, sir. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Bye,
thank
sir.
Thank you, madam.
you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Class